This is asking you, when consumers go to grocery stores to buy their turkeys for Thanksgiving dinner, they may be disappointed that the price of turkeys are as high as they are. At the same time, when farmers bring turkeys to the market, they wish the price of turkeys to be even higher. So these views are not surprising. Buyers always want to pay less, and suppliers always want to be paid more. But there is a right price for turkeys for the entire society. We call this equilibrium. Okay? In previous chapters, we saw how market economies dictate supply and demand, and how those prices fall into play. So now we're going to actually look a little closer. This is what I call true microeconomics. First concept we talked about in class was willingness to pay. Willingness to pay is the maximum amount that a buyer will pay for a good. So think of it this way. I have $5 and I'm willing to pay all $5 to buy a bag of candy bars. It's Halloween, so you're thinking about buying candy, seeing Snickers commercials, they're tempting you to go to the store, so you're willing to pay $5. As long as you get a bag of Snickers, you don't care if you spend $3, $4, or $5. You're going to pay $5 if you have to. And that's okay with you, because you're willing to pay that price. Okay, so let's say you go to the store and you find out that the Snickers are only $3. So you think, well, that's a deal, because I was willing to spend $5. And instead of spending $5, you're spending $3. So you would calculate consumer surplus, which is the money left over, by taking the $5 that you were willing to spend and subtracting the sale price of that product. So we're at $5 of willing to pay, $3 for the sale price. If I take my sheet here, $5 willing to pay, $3 actual price. Okay, I'll let you catch up with that. Maybe the other thing helped me. So here we are. $5 willing to pay, $3 actual price for Snickers. Okay? So you take 5 minus the 3 equals $2. Okay? So consumer surplus equals 5 minus 3, so $2. You have $2 of consumer surplus. So if I were to ask you, okay, Jim or Jim Bob came to the store with $5 and he was going to buy $5 worth of Mountain Dew. Maybe he's going to buy a 12-pack of Mountain Dew at regular price, and he figured, well, you know what, it's $4, it's $4.50, it's in between $4 and $5, so I'm willing to spend my $5 bill on a 12-pack of Mountain Dew. He comes to the store and actually finds that Mountain Dew is on sale, it's actually $3, or it's $2.99. So let's just say $3, same thing would apply. This is actually a very common situation. You know, after a long week of teaching, you know, doing advising and all kinds of stuff, I like to go home, get myself some Mountain Dew, get myself some comfort food, and just relax for the evening. So I'll go with a $5 bill to grocery store and figure I'm going to spend about $5 on pop. Well, when I don't, when it's actually cheaper, I got $2 left over, so I might buy something else. Maybe I'll try to buy a bag of chips, or some candy, or just maybe some egg rolls. I don't know, I'm just throwing egg rolls out there. So you see what I mean here? Consumer surplus is the money left over from your initial purchase, what you initially planned to purchase. This is important because marketing teams, market research teams, analysts, they all try to get that $2. They want that $2. So they're going to come up with different strategies, like impulse buys, you know, all that stuff at the front of the cash register, they're going to try to get those $2 from you. Now, they won't know exactly whether you have $2 or $3 or if you have 10 cents left over, but they're going to assume that you didn't spend all your money. Especially in this day and age of credit cards and easy access to money, credit card offers are all over the place. They're going to assume more often than not that you didn't spend all your money, that you didn't spend your whole $5. So that's why this chapter is important, because we're looking at the science behind consumer surplus, behind the money left over. So now let's take a look in the book about actual consumer surplus, what it looks like. So go to page 'So we're on chapter 7 here. So I'd like you to go to page 140. We'll look at 140 here. And the book will probably fall off if I don't hold it here. So look at this first one, A. So we have a situation where quantity 1, let's just say it's 100 pieces of whatever. Let's say P1 over here is $50. And let's say A over here is $100. Up here is 100, 50, and of course 0. So consumer comes in, all these consumers, so there's all these different people. So in this case, quantity is people. We're going to assume that they're all buying one Mountain Dew. So I have Mountain Dew right here. Let's assume that we have 100 people buying one Mountain Dew bottle. And they are expecting to pay all these different levels, okay? So person number 1 way over here, he's expecting to pay about $100. Okay. Got people all the way over here. Person number 100 is willing to pay $50. So you have all these different people, all these different prices. That's your demand curve. So what we want to do is, okay, let's say that there's one person here that's going to pay $100. They're willing to pay. So again, back to the previous few minutes of this presentation. They're willing to pay $100. Well, it turns out that Mountain Dew that day, let's say we're talking about a pallet of Mountain Dew instead of just one bottle. So one pallet of Mountain Dew has probably got 24 cases of Mountain Dew on it, or 12 cases times 6. You do the math there. So they find out that it's only $50. This is the price. P1 is the price. So they can go to Hy-Vee or Quick Trip or wherever they want and get this Mountain Dew for $50. So here's how we calculate willingness to pay. So willingness to pay is $100. They wanted to come into the store with $100. This one wanted to, so this one went to the store and found that it's $50 to buy it. So 100 minus 50 is $50. So WTP is here, price is here, surplus is here. And we'll just say consumer. So again, willingness to pay was 100. You can see from the chart here that this one person way over here was willing to pay $100. They really wanted that Mountain Dew. Yeah, for whatever reason. Maybe they're rich and they just don't care about the price. Maybe it's Barack Obama and he doesn't care about the price because the government pays for it. Or whatever the case is. So he has $50 of consumer surplus. So all this little, where I'm doing this red mark, is that one person's surplus. So, okay. Now if we do that for everybody, so person number 2, 3, 4, all the way to 100 people, and we get different values. So basically right here is the $75 mark, okay? So if we go right in the middle here, and let's just say it's person number 50, because it all just lines up beautifully here. So we go all the way across, just like you're familiar with. So now we do willingness to pay is $75. The actual price is $50. WTP, price. We still have $25. Now we have $25 surplus. Let's see. Okay? So the idea here is person number 1 had $50 of surplus, person number 50 had $25 of surplus. Now, we have 100 people here. But let's just say for a moment that there were only 2 people in this market. So 1 and 2, okay? Just 2. What we would do to find the total market surplus is take the 50, so we would take all this triangle. So we'd take $50 plus $25. Now we have $75 of surplus, total consumer surplus. So again, we take the 50 from person 1 and the 50 from, and the 25 from person 2, add those together, we have 75. Okay? Now let's look at something a little more complicated. So we've got this principle here where, let's say that we have quantity of 1 and price of 1. So price of 1 and quantity of 1. If you do that, you have price up here. So this is like saying, again, let's say this is $100 right here. Just like from our previous example, P1 is $100. And quantity 1, let's say that is 50. Okay? Now, what that's saying is, and go up here to A, let's say A is $200. So what that's saying is there's one person up here willing to pay $200 for this product, even though the price is $100. So that one person has a surplus of 200 minus 100, which is $100. We do that for all of these customers, so we're calculating all of this information. So we're taking $200 minus the $100. So that and then we're multiplying that by 50 times 50. So we have $100 times 50. But because we're calculating a triangle, we have to take half. If we were calculating a full square, we could take this formula. We would get $5,000. But because we're only taking half of the picture, we have to divide by 2. So that's like saying $2,500. So we have $2,500 of surplus. Now, here's the best part. If you give a price decrease in the marketplace, so now we're going to P2, which let's say that's $50. Now the initial group, the initial people, the first group of 50 here, they enjoy an additional surplus. They get an additional surplus because now they were still willing to pay a lot of money, and now the price is $50 instead of $100. So now their surplus grows. But here's the better part. Even in addition to that, remember back to the law of supply and demand. When price goes down, demand grows. Now we move to this Q2. Now we've got demand all the way out to here. So before Q1 was 50, let's say Q2 is 75. Now we've got 25 more people in the marketplace, or 25 more quantity sold. So again, the price is here. And these people, as you can see from right here, were willing to pay up to $100. See, this is C is $100 or 50 quantity. Now this is new surplus, new. So now you add up all of this juicy stuff, all of this. So the best way to do that is take your gain from here, which is your 2,500, and then multiply this, so 50 times 50. Again, because this is a rectangle, we do not need to divide by 2. So 50 times 50 is what? 2,500? It's 2,500 plus 2,500. Now we got this little triangle here. So we got 75 minus 50. So we got 25 new pieces of demand times 50. 100 minus 50 is 50 times 50. Okay. Now let's do the math on that, and then we divide that by 2. Okay. So we take that plus the 2,500 plus the other 2,500. So I'll do the math. 25 times 50 divided by 2 is 625. So you can see right there, 2,500 from the initial, 2,500 from the growth, 50 times 50. And then we've got 625 from this little triangle here, from the new customers. Now, the in-class assignment that we did on Thursday, I only had you calculate this. So please do not be confused. You have to calculate all of this. If I were to give you a price decrease problem, you'd have to calculate all the change. So there you go.